I love
I'm looking
OSHO.
at your object.
My glasses.
Yes. And I feel bliss and blessing. They look good. I have the Blu-ray as well. They're smart glasses.
Wait, what do you mean? They're smart?
Yeah, they protect your eyes
Oh,
in order for you to see this material world. So they're very smart.
I was thinking you were saying that they're like augmented reality, like with like a little screen in it. I'm like, Melitza, no, not you.
You don't have a little camera on there? Shocked. They wear them at the gym.
Really?
Yeah, but you ethically, morally, you have to disclose to your. They pop the light.
Oh, yeah, it shows it's recording.
Yeah. And you just do.
Yeah, that's wild.
It is. Wild world we live in. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. How is this for you?
I love this one was all over the place, kind of. And I loved it. But it took me a minute to get into it because I was disturbed. But it helped me hugely center because
Mm-hmm.
I was so out of my body because whatever, you know,
Something happened.
you get caught into and it like, let's see, can't even to call it an energy is not an energy, but you get caught in elsewhere dynamics so easily, so quickly. And it's a swirl where you get to explain yourself, justify yourself, protect yourself for standing, saying, not saying. It's like either way, it's becoming such a catch 22 to stand the ground or not stand the ground or something. And then you get caught up with this wave of moral inner justice that only you know about and you want to say something. It's just a whole other world to live in. And I rapidly became aware
Mm.
quickly of what is happening. And I was like, oh my God, how do I come back? So the entire time as I was reading, which my mind was all over or elsewhere, I
Yeah,
was like, wow. And I keep doing this, like, snap out of it, snap out of it. And wow, is it easy to lose it? You
yeah,
know,
yeah. It is.
it's really powerful, especially if it's politics related
Yeah,
like this pull is so strong. You have to resist it.
yeah.
But reading
Don't you
this did
feel like,
help.
yeah, don't you feel like there's a there's great effort, doesn't matter what side you're on. There's great effort to draw in your energy
Yeah.
to being
Yes.
engaged in this polarity and this
Right?
intensity. Yeah.
And don't you feel you fall for it faster? Meaning, like, it's totally involuntary, unintentional, out of control. Same like loves. That's why I love. He pulled me out of total
Mm.
opposite, which is love when you feel so powerless and it almost feels equal
Yeah.
force on the opposite side.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting too. It's like love is a feeling of hopelessness.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute. Slow down.
Yeah.
Slow down.
But you felt this, right?
Yeah.
And do you feel this on both extremes? Equal proportion of equal power. One
Like
just
between the objectification and the love, or how do you mean? What are the two sides?
the two side, it's a total opposite of what love is, which is he explains it as a lust, but
Yeah,
also can be
lust.
this vortex of energy where you actually feel you lose control of yourself rather than
Mm.
on this side you feel fully powerless but yet you feel fulfilled with yourself. Here
Yeah.
you lose yourself completely and you feel you want that power back. Oh,
Mm.
so interesting. I don't
Yeah,
know, I
really
have
good.
theories about it.
Really good. I What kept coming up for me is for sure my own experience and then kind of like analyzing how do I love, who do I love,
Mm,
how can I love more deeply, or just noticing moments maybe where I'm escaping it. But there's a couple points. One was like he said you can experience bliss in anything, and that's the point of naming the trees at the ashram, is to give them a loving quality, and you know there's there's like a scientific approach to human intelligence, like a it's almost like the way science approaches our understanding of the world. It kind of demonizes our humanization of everything. Like, oh, we humanize our animals and we humanize our plants, and then it's like we when we possess something, we tend to give it human qualities, and who knows how much is imagination or how much is reality, just we're like sensitive to it. Um, but in the other, but in the furthest thing away from demonizing it, it's like it's love. It's looking lovingly at any object. It can be animate or inanimate. And when I was a kid, um, I would be at school or even at home, and I remember looking at my desk, and we were supposed to be reading or something, and I was looking at my desk, and I could just see like all of these little fibers, and
Mhm.
I just like zoomed way in, and then I got really really close to it, and I was just looking at it, and then just tears started pouring out down my face.
Mm.
And I remember I came home and I told my mom and my dad, and they were like, okay. Like they just didn't have any understanding, any way to translate what I was experiencing, and I didn't know what to do with it either. But now looking back, I'm like, oh my god, it was right there,
Mhm.
you know. And it's so true in that moment, because I had for for the most part in my childhood, I had this experience of depression, despair, um, darkness, frustration. But in those moments, it was like there wasn't this inner voice, there wasn't distractions, there wasn't desire to have everything figured out and put in place. It was just simply like awareness in the moment, and how he describes it's bliss. And I guess I was experiencing to what it means to fully love something. And yeah, it's beautiful looking back on it now. And we have this relationship, like higher self, and then where we are now. And
Mm.
I've been developing this theory
Mm.
that there's like some time travel that we can do with ourselves in the past, and then also you can experience some part of your higher self in the future.
Mhm.
You could pull that in now too. So yeah. Yeah, this was cool. This touched me.
All right, well, let me ask. You said this connection. First question, have you experienced this bliss inside ever since you were little? And second question, are you experiencing it with this connection with the known?
The first question is yes. And I think it seems to be less surprising and shocking. So like it doesn't have like the flavor of epiphany with it anymore. Like oh my god, I have to tell people and I have to like carry it,
Hmm.
you know. But yeah, I still experience it for sure, and probably more so, more
With kids.
often and deeper. Kids, yeah, and also just nature here, um, on the island, and also yeah, sometimes it catches me random moments, and
Hmm.
it can be the most random object. And I'm just like looking at it. And one thing that helps me get there too for me is like I remember looking at the like all the little particles and thinking about how it was constructed, and then where it came from and all the hands that were involved in creating it. And then it just like
Mm,
it like blossomed my consciousness out to it wasn't it's not just a board, it's not a table, it's not a desk, it's not an object. It has a history and it has hands that touched it and it has consciousness that created it and that yeah, that sent me down the rabbit hole as they say.
mm.
Um what was your second question?
Is your connection with the higher force is also something that stimulates this feeling, fulfilling yourself inside,
Mm,
or actually emptying yourself inside because the love is established towards something higher than you? And there's a reason why I'm asking this, so I'm just kind of guiding you towards
yeah, I'm not too sure on that. What comes up is um it's like not until I have the sense of emptying or opening that I feel the connection. It's because it's always there. It's like I just have to get out of the way.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So really cool. And just to give a little, I don't know if people are reading with us together, but just to give a little explanation, because it is complex, right? And it's very simple too at the same time. When in love, the close, because we all experience that falling in love, which means that we lose ourselves and we have this sense that we could move the mountains. But the only reason how he explains it beautifully happens is that because our whole consciousness l- leaves us empty inside, and out of love is sent and centered to this other human being, a car, tree, no matter what you're looking at. And as you look at it through your loving eyes, you feel powerless, meaning all the power is actually centered towards it. And it's interesting that here's where I got question. It's interesting that this can be initiated rather than you're waiting to fall in love into something. It can actually be
Mm,
initiated from within, from within for the sake of losing everything that you have ever identified with, emptying your vessel, your conscious vessel, consciousness, not body, consciousness, and experiencing through it, through the emptiness, bliss. So to me, this was completely new way of looking at love as essence. And I was like, wait, if I'm able to look at the tree and not want anything from it, not think of it, not think with it about it, not have any thought form through it, rather than look deeply into the center of it, can I ignite the love inside once I empty myself fully towards it that I'm looking at? Which I think is so cool because we do experience this. The fact of the matter is that we experience it, we just experience it with another human being. And this is where he touches on jealousy and lust, and how once we look at the being and we want to own it, it is becoming not love. It moves from love to lust. And the owning of it is a full mind. It's no longer the emptiness that and the bliss that inside we feel. It is a different energy. And that energy translates also into another person's too, because no one wants to be just an object. They want to be love
yeah.
rather than the lust. So, what do you have to say on that? I think this is such a good topic to talk.
Yeah, it's wildly interesting. Um yeah, and and I have to like bridge it with something practical and he talks about the staring. He's like
Hmm.
unless you are in a space of love, the staring comes with weird energy, basically.
Mm-hmm.
um, and there's um there's someone that Carly and I have interacted with who were both just like, what? It's like we can't be around it for very long. And the person is making an attempt to be like very loving, and there's like an intense like, I'm gonna look into your soul, but it has this energy of wanting something from us, or at least,
Mm-hmm.
who knows the intent, but that's what's being transmitted, that's what we're receiving. And yeah, that's interesting for sure. And also it's like reflecting on the majority of my relationships, and even my partnership with Carly, and just just noticing, being gentle about noticing um how little love has been there, and just, it's just what it is, and how much lust and attachment and possession and control um exist. It has a much different quality to just have someone be in your presence or across from you, and to not need anything from them, to not want to change anything about them, not desire parts of them or a piece of them,
Mm-hmm.
um, not crave their attention, just have them, just be honored to be with them. Yeah, and and the conversation also, it changes my view of what love can be, because love typically is something that's more than platonic. It's has all these juicy parts to it. It's like, well, in reading this, it's like the love is what emanates from within you, so it doesn't have to have this external quality. It can be with any other being, any other person or an object. It's just the quality with which you emanate out. Anyway, yeah, you have something to say.
I mean, there's so much to say about this. And okay, two things that came to my mind. The first one, the love the parent can feel for a child when they stare at the child. And I've experienced this from my mom. And I would often ask her, like, why are you staring? You're staring. I would just tell her, you're staring at me. It's weird. There's a bunch of people you can talk to, and all your eyes are on me. Move it away. But there is the sense in me, it was a sense of that exact love that I experienced, regardless of what I was saying. And she would
Mm.
just watch me, but watch me as mother would watch so much love. I'm not a mother. I'm not a parent. I don't know. Can a parent feel? And I'm sure you can, because there are parents that want to control their children, right? Innocently, not intentionally. A lot of these things are coming from a goodness of the heart, of course, but um, can a parent control a child? It's a fair question. And control it meaning lustfully possess it, but not in a weird sexual way,
Yeah,
rather
yeah,
than wanting to control another human being. So that came to my mind, and I was like, wow, I really actually enjoyed when she loved me with her eyes that much. And it was weird and awkward, I have to say, because it's weird when someone stares at you with love. You almost feel weirdly caught up. And then the same thing is translated into lovers when you're covered, your body is covered because you feel a little weird to be exposed naked. And we use this word, you and I, a lot for soul being exposed or the body being exposed because it ignites this lust in another partner. But when in love, this is so welcoming. And when in love, this is necessary, as if you're entering into the space of complete surrender and you're learning how to do this with another lover who loves you with heart eyes. Okay. And then We put so much bad vibe and rap about it. It's like it ruined the entire reputation of magic, but it's true indeed a magic felt in the body when in front of you, you look your love and everything about that object, that person, that soul through the loving eyes becomes perfect, unique, the only one.
Mm-hmm.
We should fall in love over and over and over again
Mm-hmm.
because such bliss, really, what he's saying is centering us back. Um, it's very much spiritual in nature, sh sh to call it in layman words, really, like you can sense yourself experiencing emptiness because all the love that you can possess is gifted or given to that person. And then the mind comes in and ruins it all. I love it. I feel great. I want more of it. It's you
Mm-hmm.
that gives me this. And you can't have, nobody else can have it other than me. Your eyes should be on me. It's like, wow, are we dealing with the mechanism in place already that we now have to not fight, but understand and really like learn how to deal with and still maintain in love? It's hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I love when he said, love is hard. It is not easy to love. It is not easy to love. I have to read this because it was like, that's right. That's right. Sorry, I got a little. Oh, love itself is the greatest method, but love is difficult, in a way, impossible. Love means putting yourself out from your consciousness and in the same place where your ego has been in existence, putting someone else.
Mm.
This is hard. And yet we only experience this when we're in love.
Yeah. Yeah, it's profound. I think there's Osho's been sending me down this path. He says here, whatsoever is beautiful, whatsoever is eternal, is so delicate that if you try to grab it directly, it is destroyed.
Yeah. Oh,
And
I've destroyed.
yeah,
Okay, go ahead.
yeah, it's just
My, yeah, go ahead.
oh, sorry.
We want to say so much. Go ahead, go ahead.
No, jump in.
No, please.
I'll go off of you. I feel like you're gonna have something juicy here.
The love and magic was indeed destroyed exactly the way he pointed it out.
Mm-hmm.
It's a magic you put in a bottle, put
Mm-hmm.
the cap on to hold it and control it, and put it in your pocket, and it turns to poison.
Yeah,
Guilty.
yeah. Mm-hmm. But there must be some
Mhm.
right. There must be some like it's like in psychedelics, like there's another ego death. So what I'm contemplating is like you're saying the magic in the bottle turns to poison, and you take the poison because you think it's magic, and then you learn one more layer of where your attachments are or where your ego is leading the way. So even that, like, and this is to me, like, this is like always zooming out and looking at it and then seeing, like, lovingly looking at yourself because it's tempting to be like, oh, yeah, I've sabotaged so many loves or I've messed up so much or I've had all this potential and I've gotten in my own way. Um, but even in that, it's like looking lovingly back at yourself and just honoring the process of unfolding.
Yeah, right there. Learning how to do just that.
Mm-hmm.
Because no matter what, yesterday is gone already. So I think that it's like you said, it's invitation to grow awareness on when next time this happens and you get caught in your own self-sabotage. This is pure self-sabotage. We're
Mm.
sabotaging our own selves for expansion in love, infinite and unconditional. Because 9.9 out of 10, we make it conditional and we get caught in it. And I love that he's inviting back to learn how to get back into your center, to learn to come back into whatever center, even if it's a buttocks too, which I laughed about it because it was
Mm.
funny. To learn how to come back to the center, out of which then you can be aware of what is happening and growing this awareness and trying these different ways to come back into the center. And it's hard. Like 200 pages in, and I'm like, wow, and none of it worked. Like, come on, you can do better, right? It's like, come on, you can do it, you can do it. But unless I try, I would never know. And for majority of them, I haven't tried. So guilty. And I have to sit with that now, knowing that I am choosing to self-sabotage myself.
Mm. Do you, hmm. So the part where it says there's only 112. What shouldn't there be 113? And he says, you know, if you can, I should look it up. If you can learn to love, then there is no need for any technique. Love itself is the greatest method. Oh yeah, it's the part you just read. Love is difficult in a way impossible. Love means putting yourself out from your consciousness in the same place where ego has been in existence, putting someone else, replacing yourself.
And this is so true in love. This is so true when you're in love.
Mm-hmm.
When you're
Yeah.
at the beginning stages of love and you blend and merge and touch, in a sense, touch the soul, touch yourself so deeply. And mind you, this is all your own experience that is then exchanged with someone else who sees you through the loving eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And in simple words, that's all it takes, a loving eyes to see through, which are not the eyes that see material things and forms. And to go back to, I'm looking at the cup and I see it as an object rather than looking at the cup and not seeing it as an object, rather looking at it with love and making it person. So when a person sees you as a person who equally possess everything that you possess, you're looking at that in front of you with the loving eyes. It doesn't matter what form it is. That's why I name my cars a lot. All my cars have names, and I love driving. It is true. I absolutely feel hugged by a car that I drive. Samantha, the one that I'm driving now, her name is Luna. Um, Phoebe, like, yeah, I really named them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's true that there's when you name, when you can create love for everything around you, including dead objects. But the love must reside inside of you. This is the work to do. And to do that, we have to get in. We have to learn how to get in, come back inside and find the centers and learn that awareness. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think of these children's stories or movies like Toy Story, where all the
Mm.
inanimate objects come to life. And they have their own personalities and character. And it's like we look at that like it's make believe, or it's touching something within us. A lot of Disney is rooted in like um, the stories of old. The ones that were passed down through word of mouth, and it's like it exists within our genome. These ideas, and I think they awaken something new and also very very ancient in us too. Like this, like, oh, you can establish a deeper awareness, and when kids are playing in imagination or make believe, they are totally not in their like chaos of their mind and desiring something and begging for another snack or being frustrated because they're bored. It's like they're just, they could play like that for hours and hours. And
Hmm.
yeah, it's beautiful to witness.
That's why Disneyland is also really good for adults because we are so fixated in the way what we know. So when you enter in that field, everybody's happy. That's why I
Mm,
want you guys to come and bring your family to it and also experience it as adult too. It's like you sit in a coffee cup that Cinderella drank from and you become a water.
mm-hmm,
A
mm-hmm.
tea that she's drinking. It's amazing. And it's a lot of visual stimulation, true, but the sense of it, like you said, they created this purely out of to sustain the fantasy world of imagination where you maintain your child innocence.
Yeah. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hmm. Okay. Okay, what about which one did you actually like the most? Because there are three here, four.
Um, I actually,
I know what you're
what
gonna say. Okay,
uh, eh, you
the
might be
dance.
surprised.
That surprised me.
Oh no, yeah, you did say it. Um, so Looking Lovely was like, oh, it was like really familiar. I could tell stories about it, and I'm like, found that to be resonant. But the one where potentially have a lot to say on is how to meditate in a moving vehicle
Mm.
or a still vehicle, because yeah, he's like, why do you? The kids took a 18-hour trip from London to Bombay, and immediately the kids are playing, and the parent is like exhausted by it. It's because they're resisting the natural motion of it, or the resisting. Yeah, I just found that very fascinating, and I was thinking, of course, about dance, um, because there's this there's this guy I watch occasionally, and I watch him dance. He'll like throw his body in space and like fall on the ground, but it looks so easeful, and of course, you develop the awareness and the flexibility to be able to do that. But um, it just made me think of this meditation of like the rhythm and the swaying, and then also I was obviously thinking about the whirling dervishes, the Rumi spinning and spinning,
Hmm.
um, and maybe those are two separate things. But part of why this struck me is because we have this trip coming up to Texas, and I've been kind of dreading it. And it's funny looking back about how I was going to be a pilot and going to be a commercial pilot, and now I'm like, I don't I don't want to fly. I don't want to sit for 8 hours at a time, 10 hours at a time.
Wow.
Um, yeah, and maybe I was thinking, I'm like, oh, instead of distracting with another movie and another audiobook and another like, because you get yourself like very very far away from this loving energy when you're like told or programmed, or you fall into this trap of thinking like, I need to be entertained, I need to be fed, I need to go to the bathroom, I need to like, right, it's like
Hmm.
you push it so far out and then you don't have any centering, and so it is very exhausting to be in that place. um but I'm like, oh, I could just sit in the seat and then just do a little rotation and then just play with
Hmm.
that rotation and turn it into a dance. um was that going to be your guess?
The dance, yeah.
Yeah, of course. I
Yeah,
was like,
really cool.
I was
Mm.
like, Melita should see it now. And then Come over here and dance.
I I was at the museum a few weeks ago, I can't remember, and there's this downhill and you could just you just sit, grab a coffee and watch the sun sets behind the horizon. It's beautiful and has a beautiful gardens and it's just very simply serene. And on this downhill, people roll
Mm-hmm.
like children. And there was this one girl that was like, I'm just gonna roll because kids are rolling. And she is an adult. She's rolling. Of course, kids, we don't find that weird, but we find it when the adult
Yeah.
is doing it. And I looked at it and I was like, oh, lucky her. She's so free. And because she had, meaning she had to go through layers of resistance in order to
Mm-hmm.
free herself when children don't have that at all. And as kids are going, so her friend joins her and they're
Mm-hmm.
giggling, laughing. I'm laughing here because it becomes so contagious. And the third friend joins and they're having a blast. While they're having the blast, I don't even know who they are. I'm having the blast. Everybody around is having the blast
Mm-hmm.
because you get caught into this beautiful energy of bliss and you can't help yourself. And in Rumi's poetry, he often talks about the drunkard in love. And that is hopeless, helpless. You cannot help a person in love. He feels helpless himself. He's gonna sneak into your yard because he's helpless. He cannot help himself. He's gonna stay and wait for you to show up because he's helpless. He's gonna sit and wait for your text because he feels helpless. And love makes you helpless. And love makes you helpless because of that center. And I love that he talks about the dervishes as well. And it's true when you stop resisting, you stop resisting in your mind, and your mind gets so spun that you
Mm-hmm.
it no longer can direct. It's right. So it stops directing you and telling you and guiding you. Then literally you're swirling more and more to surrender. And you mentioned the flight, for example. The only time I've been panicking on flight in the last few years for whatever reason, right? So, but the flight is in motion, right? The fact that the matter is that it is in motion. So every time turbulence happens, my body freaks out and it's really weird, but my body freaks out. And for me to loosen up my nervous system, I literally have to surrender.
Mm-hmm.
And surrendering as if I'm surrendering to the movement that it's already happening
Yeah.
in the air because we're moving. And that comes with car as well. It's like your body wants to tense so much because you're starting to freak out. But the moment you surrender, it surrenders your body. You're going with the flow, right? You're entering into the movement and you're not fighting the gravity. And one more example in Disneyland, there's this really scary ride. It's called the Tower of Horror Tower.
Mm-hmm.
And have you heard of it?
I've done that one. Yeah.
I thought you'd never been to the Disneyland.
They have like it's probably named something different, but I think Six Flags.
Oh, you went to the Six Flags.
Yeah, and they have it's is it where you're just like in like an elevator and then it just the floor drops? I mean,
Yes, but
yeah.
it's so they rebranded it, and my partner at that time, she loves that. She
Mm-hmm.
loves that because she knows how to not resist. And I hated it. I hated it, and I always did it only and only did it because of her. And as we are waiting, it's a the scary thing is the wait because you're preparing for an hour
Yeah,
to
yeah.
get to that moment, and then they rebranded it, meaning they made it faster and
Mm-hmm.
bigger, right? So meaning the same tower, it's just they enhance the speed against the gravity, which is totally this, which is totally like you literally get hopeless,
Mm-hmm.
helpless. You lose all your hope, and you cannot no longer help yourself. It's literally facing the danger. And then
Hmm.
because goes against the gravity, and she is with her hands in the air, and I'm always holding. So I'm having a nightmare. I'm in a total agony. I want to die. I want to disappear. And she's having a blast. And she kept saying, loosen up, just let go, just let go. And I did. And holy moly, is the difference different. The feeling of the difference is like you're literally laughing in a blissful state of falling with the way the motion is happening rather than actually going and resisting it so much.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Oh, such a good ride. And I still hate it.
Isn't that amazing how subtle a change is required
Mm,
to completely change an experience from hell to heaven
yes.
and then back again, of course, because if you start resisting.
But the same applies with love as well. The moment, the moment we want to control
Hmm.
is the moment we resist the natural flow of it,
Yeah.
the naturalness of it.
Like you said, you
And
put
it
in a
kills it.
bottle, like it's like a stream of magic, and you stick your bottle out, you bottle it, you put the cork on, and as it sits there, it turns into poison.
Yeah.
And then you have this
And you
whole
know
stream
you're
here.
doing that.
Yeah.
And you know you're doing that and you're still doing it.
Yeah. Well, some part of you knows.
That's
Yeah.
true too.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. That's cool that you were able to let go. It reminds me of um when I was preparing for commercial pilot stuff. We had to I had to follow a track. So it's like an oval loop, and it's programmed into GPS. So I have it on the screen, and we had like 25-knot crosswinds, and then it would gust up to like 40 to 45, and then this little plane. And there's two of us, and so I'm having to like crab it. So like you're you're going straight this way. I'm having to point the plane this way, and then feel the movement, and then as you turn, you have to adjust appropriately so you stay on track. And this instructor just had me do it like 15 times in a row, and it was so disorienting the beginning, and I was so sweaty and like I was really struggling. And I'm like, I was kind of waiting for him to be like, okay, it's too windy, like let's carry on. And he kept me in it, and I was just like so distraught, and like I'm like these winds are crazy, because what would happen with the winds too is it's not just horizontal action, it's also you'll have like random vertical gusts. So I'm on this path and I'm doing this, and then I'll feel a gust and I have to adjust, and then all of a sudden shoop, you drop down like 10, 15 feet within a second. And then the same
Yeah.
thing up, where you're like your stomach drops because you're going up so high. And so
Mm.
it's like your body is having such a hard time adjusting. But it was like the 10th time through where I don't really know exactly what happened, but I felt the wind just started to feel different, and then the drop started to feel different, and then I was like, oh, I think I can just kind of use it, and I think he's okay if it's not perfect because it's so windy. It's just like I started to let go a little bit, and then I was like, this is a roller coaster. It's crazy, like because you can lose control really quickly, and this could be very dangerous. But you're riding the edge of control and having awareness of where you are in space, and then also you have to let go to a certain point, because if you're too tight on it, then you'll never get there. It'll because it's dynamic, it's ever changing, and I think this is a good metaphor for at what we face every day and what shows up for us. Like our experience can never be the same two times in a row. We can't have, it's like I have bliss with Carly in one moment in one setting, and then the very next day it just has a different energy to it. There's different elements involved. The seasons have changed. The stars and the planets have moved.
Mm,
So it's like, we have to. It's so delicate, like Osho says. It's so delicate, and that delicateness is just maybe what we're learning through this book is to just notice when we reach out with the bottle to try to capture the magic. It's like,
hmm.
oh, I'm doing it again. Let me just pull back and allow it to be.
Yeah, I love that. And I love how you said you went 14 times around the circle and then you you learned something about it. Like you learned that you can loosen up your body as well, and then you're kind of going with the flow. Same thing happens when we fall in love. And
Mm,
here's another caveat is like to say that I will never fall in love again because I was so hurt
yeah.
is really meaning that you don't understand why you were hurt because you just gifted your power away to someone else. But that power is still remaining in you, as if you just lost the sense that you no longer possess it, but it is there. It is coming back to it again, right? And so to love again is a gift. To love again
Mm,
even more is a
mm,
gift of learning this exact delicatesse, what to say,
mm-hmm,
delicacy that you're saying that is so blissful, but it also opens you up to center yourself back where there's really nothing
mm-hmm.
other than
So,
love. Yeah.
question:
Yes. I'm tense.
this experience of loss or grief or heartbreak, is it just protection that we're just seeking safety? Why we would then close off to that love again?
Um, it is so much fear to be so vulnerable again in one. Because when I identify with you and I want you for the rest of my life because I think you make me blissful, and I lose that, which I gave my whole self, I think I am dealing with all that is outside my heart. And
Mm,
everything happens in the mind. So, can I love you? And I always ask, can I love you without telling you that I love you? Can I love you without asking you to love me back the same way? That's what I need to do for myself. Is my capacity to love bigger than conditions that I'm putting you? And that is very hard to do. So when love, when I when I identify with love, I want to control it. And when I look at you as someone whom I exchange everything that I am, all my nakedness with, I feel so vulnerable that I think it's all because of you. So all my power goes to you. That is what I'm fighting against as loss. Until that whole thing comes back to me, I'm going to feel I have to protect myself. I'm going to know I need to protect myself. My sister is actually, my sister, well, I'll just use whatever, a person who, what if your mind is so fixed to say, once I make up my mind, that's it. It just that sentence closes up my heart. Just that sentence by hearing me. And I don't think like that. But there are a lot of people that think like that just for the self protection, which is actually the self sabotage to learn how much capacity they have to love not only that person, but rather the world and self. So the loss, the grief is nothing but losing the power that you identify with that you gave to that person, which is so limited in nature, so limited in nature. And this is where we get caught up on automatic. So to grow that gap of awareness is where I think, okay, well, I know I made this again and again and again, and I'm becoming aware that this is the pattern. Can I catch myself? Can I come closer to catching myself next time when I'm about to say, I cannot live without you? Is it really true? Or I am going to die if you leave me. Is it really true? No, I'm going to die because I just left me,
Mm.
you know? Yeah, that is grief and loss. It's the sense of self given completely to someone else voluntarily because we don't understand. And here's where I'm coming. It's like, yes, you and I are exchanging a lot on the thought process and the mind process, but I'm not joking when I say, unless I understand what is happening, I will never be able to guess it because everything else is a guess, an assumption. I want to be guided by someone who knows what they're talking about. This is so simple that there's no one person that told me, no therapist that told me how to do this, rather than, oh, and when the time comes, it clicks. But it clicks. I'm gonna now know next time if I get to catch myself, can I react differently to it? Can I learn how to react differently? Can I learn how to love you differently? I want to learn how to love differently. It's the burning desire inside of me to love differently and not get hurt by it the way my ego gets hurt.
Mm.
Will I do it now in this lifetime? I don't know. But will I place a seed? Can I practice this with other people? Yes. Can I practice? Can I teach myself how to practice? Every time, even if you're not around, a year or two later, when I get caught in my way of wanting to control or take you back, or can I practice? Because I'm having to practice this every day, nonstop. I need to working on my awareness. Can I catch myself? And how can I catch myself that I'm about to enter into the vortex that is pulling me
Mm.
away? It's like, really, I need to do simple techniques of just staying here, looking in my eyes, looking at the flower, practicing the love, practicing the love. It's so hard to do, but not impossible. That makes it worth trying
Yeah.
again and again and again.
Mm. Because you've tasted the purity of it when it's not when it's not veiled by your own intentions or desires.
Yeah.
This is where, looking back at my own journey, I I can see how it was easier for me to love inanimate objects because it's there's less that I can get attached to. There's less
Mm.
that I want to change, and yeah, it's like it's safe to love a desk or a flower even. Yeah.
One of the women that I interviewed on the podcast, I asked her the same thing because I've been talking about this for quite a long time. And she said, when I'm not emotionally invested in you, there's way less to lose.
Mm-hmm.
She goes, there's much less at stake if I don't have
Mm.
family or this and that, this and that, this and that. And then you wonder, but what is at stake? What is that you are putting at stake?
Yeah. Yeah, your own happiness.
Paradoxically, yes,
Mm-hmm.
paradoxically. For the sake of everything else, you're literally putting at stake your capacity, your own
Hmm.
practice of love.
Yeah, it's and the paradox that I'm seeing right now is in your desire to protect your heart, and you see it as like I can't give away a piece of myself again because I'll lose it forever, or I can't give wholly because I'll die. However you want to look at it, and the paradox is that is the death when
Mm-hmm.
when you stop giving it away. Yeah.
I made a comment the other day. I'm gonna share my heart, my body, my soul, my energy, and I'm not gonna involve my mind. That I made a decision into how I'm gonna love because me and my mind are mouse and a cat. So I'm trying to catch my mind so I can not let it eat me alive. But that's a huge change. And I'm gonna literally feel if I can discover parts of me that love you no matter what. My mind has to get out of me. Like I have to figure out my mind. So,
Mm.
cat and a mouse all the time. So I'm not listening to it.
Hmm.
And it has potential to destroy. It's funny.
Okay. Let me um let me throw in a little curveball here. Um, yeah, however you want to call the ethereal, the etheric, like the nature of the very smallest particles, energy. This one girl who I shared with you, she calls it plasma.
Mhm.
The question is, what if? And I think starting with what if is opening, right? What if plasma is conscious, or what if plasma is consciousness itself, and we are participating in it because we are in the sea of plasma. We are immersed in it. And in that opening question, the cat and the mouse are both immersed in it. They're like submerged. They're completely consumed by this consciousness.
Mhm.
And what is it other than love? Because it's, if you do a very deep psychedelic journey, you have this sense of being watched. And Osho says to stare at another in loving gaze. And it's so uncomfortable that it feels like ego death when we're like, oh, everything's watching me, or I have nowhere to hide. It's uncomfortable. We're naked. We stand naked at the gates of heaven,
Mm.
being held in that awareness. But this is constant. It's always been with us. It's always a part of us, and this is why I think he says it's so delicate, because as we approach or as we taste, we want to capture a piece of it, but not all of it, because it's too much,
Mm.
and we might die. Paradoxically, we have to die. Yeah.
Die, die, die in love. Such a. I want to read to you. I think I need to read to you this poem. Hold on.
Is this your poem?
No, it's Rumi's, and it actually talks exactly about this. It's a short one. Okay. Die. die, die in this love. If you die in this love, your soul will be renewed. Die, die. Does don't fear the death of that which is known. If you die to the temporal, you will become timeless. Die, die. Cut off those chains that hold you prisoner to the world of attachment.
Mhm.
Die, die, die to deathless, and you will be eternal. Die, die, and come out of this cloud. When you leave the cloud, you will be the effulgent moon. Last one. Die, die, die to the din and the noise of mundane concerns. In
Mhm.
the silence of love, you will find the spark of light. Die, die. I love it because poets get this. Because
Mhm.
exactly the same. You touch something so huge and you die trying to translate it to the ordinary minds. Die, die to the cloud. Ugh. But can I come back to your collective consciousness and what you just said with plasma? So, are you pointing out that because we're part of the environment, aka a product, d- well, the environment to the mind is not that welcoming nowadays, right? So, to the mind, do you have the sense that you are growing inside something unknowable to you, unknowing, opposing completely what the known is?
Mm. Yeah, it's like a paradoxical yes, but then hmm, there's a delicate piece on the other side, which is like it's the deepest knowing you can have. Yeah, I don't I don't know what to
Can
say.
you feel the answer?
Yeah, that's the truth. Is it's
Ha-
felt.
did you just felt a little uncomfortable?
Hmm. How so?
Because you laughed and you moved and you were like, a little uneasy. The feeling.
Um, yeah, it's just approaching, putting it into words. It's like, you know, it's like I can try to put it into words, but yeah, it's the feeling because it's hard to translate. Yeah, but the door that you step into is one where there's it's impossible to know. It's so unknown. It's letting go of all that is known. Um,
Which
because
is uncomfortable.
yeah.
So you
I'm
look to
struggling with
your
that word because I have such a deep comfort in all I can say is like to me when I contemplate this like conscious plasma, as just to give it a name. The closest feeling I could relate it to is when you're in the like hundreds of pillows and blankets, and like you're just completely held and supported and relaxed. So it's maybe uncomfortable because the mind seeks for solidity when there is none. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you tried to look into the object and not think?
Yes.
How's it going?
Well,
Uh,
it's just like any meditation, right? It's like you're all of a sudden you have thoughts, and then it's like, okay, return to the breath. At least this is my experience of, okay, the set the intention, just observe and hold it, and then thoughts come in, and then, okay, what am I doing here? Okay, back to, yeah. And yeah, meditation is, maybe this is different topic depending on where you want to go with it, but meditation feels like it has different quality to me
do you meditate?
lately. I was reflecting because you asked me that before, and I was like, no, I don't meditate. Um, I'm afraid to. I fear calling it anything, calling what like this practice, because it doesn't have rules or a place, or it's just more like a. I find myself in a moment, just entering meditation, and it just happens, and then um, yeah. It's not like every morning I wake up, I sit in a spot and I sit for 15 minutes. And yeah.
I mean, yeah, totally. I get it. And same. It's not like I have a practice to sit and meditate with directing my mind towards some sort of concentrative attention, right? Focus. But why I ask, because it's lately, and this might have to do with Aries, Neptune moving to Aries. Just yesterday, I had this thought, and the girls asked in the astrology chat, they asked, did something happen? Because for 11 years, we've been living into this like fog and a mud, especially the Pisces. And you can't really like you can't see like clearly. So now this shift in Aries is actually a brand new wheel to start, for a brand new cycle to start with Neptune, which is starting from the beginning. Everything that was done is done and over, and what had been clear. And my first thought was, actually, I've been thinking and feeling, I was like, oh my God, my thought, it's so clear to me now that my thoughts are not, might not even be in my mind. And I have never thought about this. And I was like, my thoughts are not in my mind. Can they're in some other sphere that I'm yet to discover
Mm.
and be aware. It's like they're not inside my head. They can be anywhere. But right, I think of them as here rather than think of them as just something that I don't know, kind of gets attached to it or I get attached to. And I was like, huh, the sense of it being so clear. And I'm not saying this is truth. I'm saying the clarity that comes that is more possible, the possibility of it. It's the, I feel it differently. I feel the difference on it. So when I concentrate my mind into an object, then I sit here every morning and I just literally either read or write. Yesterday, I wrote a gratitude journal. So it's such a slow, intentional process. It's slow. It takes a chunk of slow-mo, slowing down. And there's this sense, it's not a sense, it's almost like as if I'm slowly coming back into me. And then I can feel what is happening at the moment. I can experience it. And when I slow down to slow-mo speed, I can actually experience myself more fully. And then in that process, usually is where I feel force inside of me. Doesn't it can't be it can be butterflies that we call, it can be fire, it can be aliveness or something inside of me that comes in, and that bliss is experienced to me in this area often as a buzzing or as a tingling, like something, the crawling in the inside the body. So that's why I ask, it's like, you're right, meditation doesn't need to be just sitting and oming for 3 hours or doing the Vipassana. There's just devices or techniques to come back inside and experience whatever that is
Mm-hmm.
happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I have Diane, who was on our Jinkies 20 podcast. She'll sit for 4, 5, 6 hours a day. And since I've known her, and I was always like, okay, I would like to do more meditation. And then you see someone, like Osho says, you're listening to music in a room, and someone says, I feel such bliss when I listen to this song. And immediately your mind goes, I want that bliss too. And then you try to attain to it by some idea of what they're experiencing through the music, that the same music you're listening to, but you're having a different effect, you're having a different outcome. And that is her path, and that is her joy and her bliss is through that experience. And then I have something very different because when I sit, I have, I'll say this, I've after Cole was born, this was 2 years ago, I was meditating in a seated posture and doing a simple breathing technique. And I was like, at one point, I was like, I swear I'm levitating. I'm not going to come out of this and look down, but it felt so amazing. So it's like I've had that experience, but it didn't change me into a sitting meditator for life. I was like, hmm. And all that to say, I think for each of us, we have different needs at different moments and different ways to approach it. And it's really, and even in our individual lives and our life paths, like we change so much. And so what worked 2 years ago or what we need now compared to then is it's always going to be changing, dynamic, and different. And that delicate dynamism and our ability to approach the unknown, and that's what I find to be actually the most comforting, is like there isn't a method for me. There isn't
Mm,
to me, I'm like, this approach of contemplating 112 methods and occasionally tasting and testing them myself is the most beautiful way for me to approach it. It's where in our conversations where I find I touch bliss very frequently now. When we first started, it was like once every 10 or 12 podcasts, and now it's almost every time we talk where I get to go here and um
that's really cool.
yeah, and it's through what I'm noticing is I am it is love. It's like this loving approach to meeting with you. And the more I love the space that we're in, and you and your mind and your heart, I I'm finding like the words are just coming through. And like you said, like these thoughts, having clarity that these thoughts are not from the mind, whereas before it's like maybe they are. Sometimes it feels like they definitely are coming from my mind, and then it's like, oh, I can maybe see how conceptually they're coming from like this etheric place. And but again, there's like there's too many theories, and they're not coming together. It's not clear. And as soon as Neptune was in Aries and I was speaking from my heart, it was so clear to me, like this is a direct channeling, nothing that's from my own self. It's nothing that's emanating out of me. It's just clearly, it's just like this shift of settling into, of letting go, of dying, die to the self, like die to this moment of clarity. And I feel on the other side of that is a deep peace, which is ironic for Aries, but you
Mhm.
know.
Aries rising.
Yeah.
You're more Pisces than you're Aries. But can I just add to that what you just said? It's like, and I'm thinking now as you're talking, it's like the moment I come back to thinking correct what you're saying is the moment I lose that connection with you, which is no more, it's no more loving eyes or loving energy that comes through. So instantaneous energy flow just gets cut off. And then I was like, when I don't often think of what you're saying as wrong. Well, actually, I don't often think of what you're saying to correct it. And I'm noticing is that I'm adding on it because
Mm-hmm.
you're welcome to say, even who cares if it's true or not? I think this itself becomes a practice and a technique to add on and expand until the self, the one, the you, the me, comes to some sort of real aha, the
Mm-hmm.
gap of awareness that enters into and you feel. Because you're right, the more we expand, the more we feel free to be. And the more acceptive we feel, the more we look into through the glasses of possibilities and potential. So it is the exchange in a sense of vastness that is not limited. We are not even trying to limit it. So that's why I said earlier, the only time that I feel constricted is that when you announce and you say, "Well, I'm gonna be a devil's advocate." Well, I need to ask you something, and I was like, "Okay, here we go, intense."
Oh, really?
Right. No, but I love it because it shakes up the energy and it almost like, oh, okay, now I have to pay attention to what I'm saying. I have to be, what? Yeah.
It's like this pulsation. It's like you tense and then you can let go again.
Yeah, because it's it's very easy to come in and debate rather than explore. Right. So it's like I think this itself became a practice of how it helped me question a lot of things and not hold grip onto, oh, this is what it is and this is why. We opened in the beginning. It's like when I get caught into that vortex of trying to prove wrong and right, it's like, oh, like I have to it's like a live sand. Literally is a live sand. You're sinking inside of it and
Mm-hmm.
you're sinking and you really want to get out. And the more you resist it, the faster you sink, which is so paradoxical. But yeah,
Hmm.
I think
I love that.
this space itself is very meditative because we're directing our minds into a healthy way to direct it in order to help us sink in
Mm-hmm.
inside and then explore. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, me too. Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Um, do you think I don't know how many podcasts you tune into or watch? Do you think other people have this experience?
Mm-mm. I think we can only have that experience when you come and you have a desire to listen to someone who has an open mind like this. This is I would love to listen to him talk or Ram Dass, someone who has the loving eyes and loving glasses to see the world through. But I don't listen to podcasts for the same reason. And the more I don't listen, the more I'm opening up, which is
Yeah.
so wild.
Yeah.
And it's social media is exact same thing. It's like it's so vortexy inside. It's like the less I'm there, the bigger I become.
Mm-hmm.
Me.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think I've never seen people have a freedom,
Mm.
judge free, no stand for anything space. And I think this is less and less available actually for people.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And maybe, hmm.
That's why we're not famous.
Yeah, and I was contemplating earlier. I'm like, if you look at the the audio track on this podcast particularly, I'm like,
Mm,
there's gonna be so much space of just silence in between our words or our thoughts, or us just kind of energetically communicating outside of just the microphone.
mm,
And I was like, would I would I sit there and be able to, like, if I was listening to our chat and I wasn't you or I, would I be able to tune into this energy? And I wonder, like, because we do have viewers on the videos. I know Melissa tunes in every once in a while. I wonder if they are able to taste it, or if it's coming in and it just is more mental, or if it's more of a. I'm just so curious, like, because you and I are experiencing this. We have it, and now it's like it's no longer a question of is this something that's fabricated because of my coffee, because it's a little chilly and my body is having a reaction. It's like this is consistent across the board. It's happening almost, like I said, almost every time now.
yeah.
And I notice when it doesn't is because I'm doing something here, I'm distracted, or I'm trying to tunnel it into a viewpoint or reach a certain place. Um,
Mm,
and then the paradox here is that my bottling the magic is actually wanting to share it. It's like, when you have a new song, you find a new artist, and then you want to tell people like, hey, I have such bliss with this musician. Check it out. And then you get like a, hey, sounds good, and you're like, what the hell? Like, why? You know. Um,
mm,
and and then too, I just want to add this. My mind wants to run away from when I ask you, do you think other people experience this? And you say no. My mind wants to run away from that conceptually. It feels dangerous, I think, because like you said about being in love or having love for someone, because that means it's almost like my mind wants to say this is repeatable if you create um, the certain elements. Like we could essentially tell people, like, here's a list of things to do to get yourself into this space and then have this energetic transmission. My mind says yes, that's possible, probably because it's fearing the special quality that you and I are participating in. Like you said, in that love, there is, you're giving away a piece of yourself. And so my mind comes in and says, don't worry, it's you're not going to die because it's repeatable. Someone else can experience it, and then if you and Melitza go your separate ways, you can repeat it with someone else and she can repeat it with someone else. It's just I'm just noticing I'm noticing, like, how I reacted to you saying that. I thought you were gonna say yes, it's rare, but yes, it's possible.
Well, I've been shocking you with my statements lately, but can I add something that I'm glad that you asked? What is the difference between Osho speaking to the crowd, which comes to all from him out and people listening, versus exchange that is one-on-one, very personal? I think it's harder to get inside of an exchange that is personal. That the energy field is created between you and me exchanging and pushing. If somebody, how can someone come and enter? If this was done on the stage in front of you and me and the audience listened to it, it will be no different from Asha saying, the only difference is my whole focus is on you and yours is
Mm-hmm.
on mine, but versus him focusing on the entire
Audience.
audience
Mm-hmm.
so they can receive it and take it. I think this concept is beautiful example that it can be done in the peaceful manner of disagreeing, right? So I think this concept is just an example of hundreds of thousands of hours of exchange that is benevolent in nature and very supportive, empowering, and encouraging rather than learning something. And if anybody is to listen and read, it will they will feel alone in a sense because they can't exchange with us. That's one thing. And paradoxically, the second thing, what I think is happening is that unless you and I learn how to open space for others energetically, where others can come and contribute, we got no comment on Osho
Yeah.
because it's not personal to them, right? So I think it's harder for people to enter such a private space of exchange. That's why the lovers are private, right? So this is very sacred space in a
Mm-hmm.
sense. And to me, it actually serves two purposes: to give example that it can be done in a peaceful way in a long run of open space, open exchange, differences in opinions that are welcomed. That is the gift, how I think it's this is just an example. And the second, it actually teaches us how to do this, how to
Mm-hmm.
open up to more than just the zoomed in concentrative attention exchange. That's what I think it is. So
I
10 years
appreciate
from
that.
now, 10 years from now, we are going to learn to be different. And this is the tool that it's going to help us actually learn how to be different to the world. It starts somewhere. That's why
Mm-hmm.
we're not famous, and because it was not meant to be famous. It was meant to actually be a school for us in a
Yeah.
sense too, for us to
Mm-hmm.
learn as well.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And I'm curious. I'm like, this image is not leaving my mind, which is you and I are sitting, and then there's an audience, maybe a small one, but I'm just like the image is there, and to me, I'm feeling that we could bring that loving awareness out to more people. It's I think hmm,
Can
not
I
to
just
say
add something? Right?
yeah, you can. Yeah.
Not to say what.
Go ahead. I lost it.
If we change one thing about this concept, entire concept will change. Let's just say if I just click, if we just decide not to record, it will change. Do you think?
Yeah. I I want to say yeah. I mean, sure. Okay. I see. I see. Yeah, it changes. I don't but I don't shy away from any change.
Of course not. We're changing every time. It
Yeah,
has
yeah.
changed.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I don't have a desire to preserve the hmm. I'm just so curious. I'm like, what? Hmm, yeah.
About.
I'm actually curious about the change itself. I'm like,
We can try.
well, that's the thing is like we can't force an audience to show up.
Yeah. Same thing we tried with a different camera and it just simply didn't flow. But you're absolutely right. And I really think that the answer is in a future, not actually not now. That if there's one thing that changes the space, because this is a gift in a sense, because they're two minds desiring to meet and open themselves up to a different concepts while they are actively listening, actively speaking, exchanging,
Mm,
receiving, giving, rechange. So this itself is the actual practice and changing of a pattern where we get to cry and laugh and catch ourselves. It's a total. For this is going to take so long, and I wouldn't waste an hour and a half listening to us if someone else did this. And I'm honest because I would want to do this with me. So here's a good example. I was at the book club. There was 20 of us. If I sat there for 5 hours listening to what other people are saying, I would not sign up next time. But I had a space where I said what I said. I had a space to engage with that energy and feel it as if I'm taking it in and out. So different, very different.
mm,
I don't know. This is just my experience, but I'm definitely wrong for to speak on behalf of others. Maybe people really enjoy our voices. I've also was told that our voice is just also frequency. So, and Blue, just a good example. She now cannot hear. She
yeah.
now needs to look into your eyes
Hmm.
and read your lips. So there's a totally different language. It doesn't matter what I'm saying anymore. What matters is that what you see in my eye, how I behave towards you, what's my body language. So that is also a future. It's not
Mm,
to disregard it. The other day, yesterday, I had a new friend that I met, the older lady. She's like, "Oh my God, I have listened to one of your podcasts, and I have to say I'm intrigued and shocked. I don't know what that means from her standpoint, but to me, I was like, oh, so happy you were intrigued." And I knew exactly which one she listened to for some reason. And it was Love, Loving, and Lovers that I've done months ago, almost a year ago, when I opened up and said, let's make love. And you and I never met each other. And it's true. And I was like, I'm curious what you're going to feel in the end because we exchanged this energy. We were hot on love in the air. And I've never met this person, never kissed her. And we didn't make love with words, we made love with energies, different concept. So, and she's like, I'm going to watch it until the end and I'll let you know. I was like, but yeah, if there is no words, there's a sound, there's a body language. It's a different. So I think there's much more than we can actually comprehend in this. So I would not stop it just because nobody's watching. Absolutely not.
hmm,
Mm-mm.
hmm.
Especially not now. Especially not now when everybody's seeking some sort of different meaning.
Yeah. Yeah. There's something you said a few weeks back, which was to the effect of we are learning how to do something now. We're stepping more into it to then be able to. You just alluded to, I think that's about all you said. And then for me, in my mind, it was, you know, and I'm understanding it's delicate. So when it's super delicate, I have a hard time getting the words out. But
Mm.
I'll just say where I'm at mentally, and then I can walk it back. Where my mind goes is that when my heart opens up with you in this exchange, and the thoughts come in and I can feel that not they don't have as much attachment. They're much more fluid and loose. I feel that this is a practice of becoming or of being, like settling into being, like you said, while the words are flowing, while I'm listening. And even today, I'll be listening to you and I'll have a thought of this is my response. And for most of my life, once I had a response, it doesn't matter what you say from that point. When I held that thought, I'm going to say that response. And it would be awkward conversation. There's no flow. And
Yep.
now there's this process of letting go in listening of the
Mm.
thought. And I say, it's okay. If the thought's there at the end, if it still tracks, it'll be there. If it's not there, then there's something better. And there's this like continual, that's what's happening in this exchange. And what you alluded to, I think for me, where I go is how wonderful it would be to enter the space of my heart in an instant with someone else, potentially, or with an audience, potentially, or with who knows, or with just with myself, who knows. But I feel what I'm learning is that this is the way I want to be in the world.
Mm.
This this is what I'm touching here is beauty and bliss and love and um yeah, I'm honored to be experiencing it. And of course, of course, there's attachment to it as well. Of well, because we have it, then that's where it exists. So it's like until I get to the podcast on Sunday with Melitza, and the reality is, it's not true. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with what you said. Totally. And it's that practice, right? Again and again and again. Like Vipassana, start over and
Mm-hmm.
start again, start again. But it's the awareness that you catch yourself. How are you acting in the world? And it's such a subtle change. It reminds me of when you go to the gym, you worked in one and you're going every day, you actually don't see results on your body right away, which is why people give up of it. 2 years
Mm-hmm.
later, not only do you feel strong inside your body, it's a sense in your muscles, you have strength and power inside of you, but you also see the change and you're like, when did this happen? Such a subtle, and you don't know which muscle. Here's another thing. You don't know which muscle, unless it's the obvious muscle, but you don't know in your body what muscles you're pulling. It's almost invisible. And yet, you open your back, you look at your back, and there's like a whole concept and complexity of muscles that are actually picking up a little bit for you. And you're like, wow, if I had not done this much time towards, I, I didn't know what I'm growing through it, to it. My muscles on the back are not even. And I don't know how I got to the an even side of one point muscle on my back. And I'm like, huh, I wonder, can I? I can't. It's doing its own thing. But what I'm doing is contributing my time and my intention with the open mind and open heart to find out about myself and learn who am I in this process? Who am I in this process? And there's no better way to explain it, to find yourself when, unless it's open space. It's a space that is intentionally shared with two, three people because we they don't want to change one another, nor want to identify with the space itself at all. And we try to bring on different people on, and we also try to the other day I was thinking about the container that we did with the
Yeah.
let's go and finish the tasks, and I was like, ooh, it gives me anxiety just thinking about it. It's like, yeah, it's constrictive, but in nature rather than opening as spaceless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's it's cool to see on the other side of social media of like the political energy harvesting, the darkness, all that stuff. There's like
Hmm.
I'm sensing a really innovative approaches to everything. And there's like people are doing things in such a unique way now. Like there's just a lot of experimentation happening. and it's opening more and more doors. So like, of course, any tool has darkness and light, has good and evil. And where my heart leads me into this is, instead of being like, here's the container, this is when you show up, here's what we're teaching you, you're getting it from us, let me show you my credentials so that you can believe. Instead, it's almost like we're in a park somewhere, we sit down and we start this exchange, and we have an open space of invitation. And it could be, and if it's zero, we still have this, and if it's one, it of course changes the space, but it's open in a sense of, there's no sense of commitment to it. There's no sense of attachment to the outcome. There's no expectations or desires.
Yes.
And that to me is like we approach it in the love of freedom itself.
Hmm.
And there we go. So all that to say,
Hmm.
we would have to be in proximity to each other. So
What?
I'm not saying anything.
You're moving?
No,
Oh, please.
you're moving.
Keep it as an option. Oh. But I want to add to that. That thing is exactly. No, we have to come back to it. That's transpersonal. That is transcendent. Something that ascends out of you, transfers out. And when it's constricted with expectations and what it needs to be, the inspiration can't flow. The creative force actually cannot enter. It does, as if it doesn't want to enter. It's and why I say this, because my first workshop was created to engage and invoke such creative forces, and because I had to put it on a paper, it lost his essence, its essence.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm like, well, I know this and I have the idea what I want the second one to be, and I'm approaching the time
Mm-hmm.
to even say anything about it because I'm missing the juice of it. It's actually just an empty shell. I'm missing the
Mm-hmm.
juice. So my work now comes fully and totally me to surrender into this shell and fill it up with juice. Do that. And now I'm like, okay, well, I know I have potential and power, and I know there's an idea. How do I create a space that is not for me? And yet, the date, the time, the concept, the construct, everything has to be set in a state. So to me, this is more interesting to me to discover on how to do them, put the workshop on it. And here I'm also testing myself. Can I actually stand in front of the audience in that sense and transmute this energy out? And I wouldn't know until I try. And that's the fact. It's like I have to go there in order to fail. It gets harder before it gets easier. I have to step into it in order to learn something. What is my lesson? I need to, if this is what I want to do 50 years from now, I have to learn what doesn't work in a sense. It's like I want to be able to transmute this energy. How is it felt through the books centuries later? How is it felt through the music centuries later? And there is the switch. There is a mechanism that works, right? So I want to be able to create out of the self authenticity, the uniqueness that it's not mine, that I gave up of, right? Do not identify. And that is a lot of things to learn how to do and catch yourself, a lot of moments of catching, catching, catching. Because inspiration, the idea, the magic doesn't flow in the boxed construct. It flows in a transpersonal. So it's not personal at all. It's developmental. It's like something out of self.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't just pray for it and hope for it. I have to create the environment that and wait for it to be open. Halsey is one of, so this guy who works for Apple, And sometimes I just listen to him because he invites all these artists and he very much proposes the industry. It goes against the industry and invites the artists, the big artists, to talk about their own creative process. And I remember Halsey was once saying, I cannot for life put the album out now. I can't. I cannot. I cannot. I cannot. And they're forcing me to do it. So the music that comes out of me is not mine.
Hmm.
It's because it has, that's exactly what happens with authors too. It's like when you get into the system, when it's forced upon you, total inspiration is out. You're talking from a very different self, not even yourself. You
Hmm.
know, it's like Emily Nagoski was one of them. I went to her tour and she said, I wrote a second book because I was due to it. Wrote the book about sex and I had not had sex for a year. I mean, I'm saying I'm honest. She goes, I'm honest because I was told I have to write it. I became sexless in my marriage because of this book.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, you have to have a space and allow that natural, organic development of these energies or whatever, as how he calls them, seers. I
Hmm.
like that. Yeah, the consciousness, the seer,
Hmm. Hmm.
to come and visit.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Do you want to try live streaming?
sure.
I think you can do it right from Zoom.
Really?
I think so.
Let's try. Next Wednesday? Do you want to do Gene Keys or this?
Um, Maybe both.
Let's see, will it change? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and just to put a pin on what you said, I'm like, if this is such a delicate process, if art is such a delicate process to package, then how do people do, maybe that's not the right question. I it makes me skeptical of like Kundalini workshops or tantric weekends, like that sort of thing.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
but my other inclination is people show up. You said people show up in an audience and there's this expectation, there's this exchange of expectation of wanting something from them, but it's the people who can emanate out pure awareness from a space of love where there's no, like, typically you want to be a participant in the energy. So like that was my experience before
Hmm.
I fell out of going to church. I was like, I would just have this burning desire to be like, I want to go on stage and just ask a question. I feel like I can't. This feels like prison. I don't understand it. I feel like the audience would benefit because I'm opening a door that I'm sure there's other people who have had the same thought, just no one's brave enough to ask a question. And it's in a space that it's only the pastor talking. You're not allowed to ask questions. It's not you'd be ostracized energetically, if not deliberately.
Hmm.
And I think of like, okay, with Ram Dass and Osho and other spiritual teachers, people sit at the feet of the master because there's this quality of exchange that exists, and there's a quick realization that there's a transmission that is deeper than anything they've experienced, and they want to be at the fountain per se. They want to experience,
Drink.
yeah, drink from the richness of this intelligence. Hmm. Maybe
Try.
that's all there is to say. Yeah.
When I um when I recorded myself first time, trying to answer questions of the workshop. I did this in 3 rounds. The first one, I was supposed to look perfect. It's like I literally moved the things around. The light wasn't working. I recorded myself with 3 different cameras, and I was like, wow, this is a lot of work. So just so that I can look legit, I totally tossed it. The second one, I was like, I don't like these questions. I'm thinking too much about it. And the third one was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go with the flow. And then I had eyelids down. I was tired. I think we just finished it was literally the same day when we finished one of our podcasts. But I
Nothing made you
genuinely,
tired.
no, it was because not you, but rather than I was waking up early. So I look tired. You can see the ones that I have on the Instagram, you can tell I look tired. But it was genuine. And I think I was like, okay, let me see if I can concentrate my mind into the question and see if I can flow out of it from my heart. And it was genuine. I made so many mistakes in my words. I entered into the field, which I had to learn how to come back, this practice, right? And I loved my innocence in it. So I learned myself in a different way. So when I was talking to them, I was not talking to one person. My energy went this way rather than this way, right?
Mm,
Rather than this, like tuning into your field, your energy, and kind of because there's so much happening when we're so into one and another. And rather than the entire audience, same way like DJ often talk about this. It's like you have to kind of go with the flow of the crowd because they are going to tune in. But as you said, when you're sitting in front of the master, you're literally feeling the transmission because you're able to open up. I think it's also the practice. I really do. So try it because I'm going to continue trying this for the sake of, okay, I want to feel my heart opening up to a wider audience rather than just really being zoomed into you. You feel me as I feel you because we're the only two existing in this world right now. We don't have a concept of talking to the wider audience, which if we go live, it will be different. The moment someone enters on live, just to check it out behind the screen, the energy will change. But we have to learn how to do this. So I'm very, very, very open to it. I
yeah.
think it will be different. But it's worth trying. It really is worth trying because it's a beautiful thing to offer to people.
Hmm. Yeah. And it's practically speaking, it's interesting because um, smaller channels that go live will interact a bit more with the exchange. Like if someone writes a comment, they might read it and then answer a question. But then the bigger creators, they can't possibly keep up with all of it. So Stefan Burns, he'll live stream and there's commentary the whole time and he's just doing his own thing. It's like, so we have a choice of how we want to or get to participate because someone might come on and just troll us, just say
Yeah,
some horrendous thing. It's like, hmm, do we want to do we want to play with that energy like Osho is very good at that, or do we want to
I
try to
guess we
keep
need to.
this and just open it up? Yeah,
I guess we need to try. I think it's just another layer of us learning about ourselves. And are we
sure.
really good at it? Because when you get confronted by trolls, it is a wave of energy that you have to deal with. It hits, it
Yeah.
stings.
Hmm.
There's an immediate. And then the question is, do we say ouch or do we just say ouch? Or do we actually get absorbed in it? It's a
Hmm.
forever practice, I think. It's something we have to learn for the rest of our life here.
Hmm. I remember one of my one of my first videos I made. Someone said, uh, I was I was giving advice about, I think it was business, and someone said, "Oh, does this advice um, make you lose your eyebrows? Because I don't have very prominent eyebrows." And
Wow.
I was like,
It's
what a weird,
crazy.
what a weird comment. I've seen comments on your stuff where people are just,
Yeah.
like, why are you bringing that? Like, what? You just trying
But
to get
that
off on someone else's discomfort.
totally.
Um, yeah, and the power and the control. But
That's I don't
I just commented back on it. I said, Yes, that is unfortunately that is one of the side effects is you will lose your eyebrows. But it's good advice.
Yeah, I that's why I think that the more you grow in, the more you grow in your light, you will be confronted. Bruce Lee, right? You will be confronted with equal dragons. So it's all the process of learning how to react to them differently and catch yourself. That gaps. So
Mm-hmm.
you need them. You need this feedback that you're doing great.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So when it shows up like that, I'm always like, ouch, ouch, this thing. So okay, I'll do this on the offline record and tell you what happened, but I have to sit with my own self and I have to confront my own reactions to the world, to everything, including the dark and light. It's not only going to be nice, breezy with pillows around. It's not. I'm going to get to learn how to deal with being human.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and OSHO was prosecuted by that community. I don't know if you saw that documentary.
Yeah. I want to rewatch it again. I watched it a few years ago. Oh, yeah.
Crazy.
Oh,
Just have so many people with fear and hatred.
yeah.
Yeah. And
I
yeah,
mean, Jesus was
yeah, right.
crucified
It's
for it. So very interesting.
pretty much anyone that's accessing deeper truth. It's uncomfortable for people, so they respond. They react rather unconsciously.
Which, by the way, is easier to do when you have someone next to you like you. It's easy. This is easy to do with someone, right? Rather than being alone and standing alone. So at least we'll go and sing together. That's a total humanist to say, hey, we need each other.
Yeah, yeah,
And that's the
yeah,
beauty. It's like, yeah.
yeah. You develop. I think you develop the capacity to withstand some of the pushback, and then it's like with people that are very socially brave. Um, and speaking of the artist revolution innovation. Sorry if you gotta go. Like we can wrap up here,
Oh no, I'm
but
fine now. It's Sundays.
um, oh, it's Sundays. Okay, but there's like DJs that'll walk around New York City and they'll have it like on a harness and they'll mix their songs and just walk and then people will start to follow. Sometimes they'll have people rap on top of it. And I think it's like the first time how much fear you have and then if you have one hater or one troll, granted music is wonderful. It connects people. You're likely to find someone that likes the music that you're playing. But in that sense, like there's I think we see the or we see the dramatic opposition of Osho and Jesus, which was like pretty end of life for Osho and obviously end of life for Jesus, just as examples. But there was a long process before that of developing their skills, their abilities, their access, how they hold themselves. Um, it's like they Osho started in India and he spent a long time teaching about his method and tantra and what he learned through his enlightenment and not until he came to America and everything started to become recorded it's like there's a long gap there so we tend to compare ourselves to that end state and say like we're not worthy and how can we handle it and it's not but all that to say it's we'll see who shows up really that's all we can do.
Yeah. And you speak of a culture that comes from navel directly into the head with no developed part of feeling. So, yeah, in a sense, you must be ready for it. And I think we talked about this like a year ago on a exact same thing. If I don't have that stamina to hold myself in the world, you can't help me, even if you're holding right there next to me and if
Yeah.
you're supporting me, right? And you have to build that inside of you. And to build that inside of you, you have to know who you are, and you need to learn about yourself and have that connections with your own self and healthy body and mind and spirit and energy. And no matter what, stay self, like no matter what you feel, you protect yourself. And that is very, very powerful thing to do. If you have a person who is standing alone in the world, that is hard to do, and it's honorable. And standing in their own, and I'm not saying beliefs that are changing the world, but rather than their own beliefs. Like, who am I to change your belief?
Mm.
Why would I want to change your belief? Is the question. Why would I want to change anything that you think? I'm
Well,
not your God,
hmm
though I think I am your God. I fall for the falseness of it. I know, I know, discussable. It's a big subject to touch, especially nowadays.
well, I don't. Yeah, I don't shy away from that topic at all. To me, the clear teaching from Jesus was, he said, "Do you not know that you are all gods?" And it's like if he took that one sentence and brought it to the church and just emphasized it and allowed space for contemplation, it would change the whole structure. How it would change everything. It's glossed over. There's like people say it's mistranslated. It's not what it's not the context of what he was saying in the moment. It's like no, it's true. That's what was said. And another thing he said was, and speaking of audience and standing alone, he said, if anyone comes to me and touches the hem of my robe with complete conviction and faith that they will be healed, then they will be healed. And he just carried that understanding of it's not him, and he's not your I am not your God. He said, I am that I am, saying that he is source and he is God, but not separate from or not above you. If you have belief and you touch, then of course you'll be healed. It's not something that he's doing.
Yeah.
And that's what I think that's what we're accessing. We can all access is this opening up. And when we learn to love, back to Osho, when we learn to love so deeply and to have a loving gaze, then we're freed from the slavery of our own minds. We're freed from this slavery of who we are and what we're supposed to be doing. I'm just thinking, I have one of his book, which the title is Freedom from Yourself.
Whose book? Osho's?
Osho's.
Yeah, I know that book. It's a
Yeah.
beautiful book, Tiny Yellow One. Yeah. Because really, ultimately, you can only evolve yourself in a sense. Your North Star is your own self.
Ooh, you keep dropping these bangers.
Bangers for
Yeah.
discussion, or
Yeah. North Star. That's like there's a lot there. Hmm. Well, thank you. This is a big one. You doing okay?
yeah, I'm gonna stop recording. I'm gonna